Hey, Capitalized Math Industry, and we are going to take a look at 3 triangle proofs. So before we get started, we'll need a warm-up in this video. So you see this triangle right here? Yep, it's a triangle. If we were to calculate all the angles inside the triangle, 50, 30, well, what would this one be? Well, the thing is, we're gonna say it's 100, but the question is, why is it gonna be 100 degrees? And how do we know it's 100 degrees? Well, that is because there is an actual theorem to this. The theorem actually states that the measurements of a triangle with angles is a sum to 180 degrees. There really is no name for this one, just like the other ones. However, the thing about that is, if it equals 180 degrees, and we said about this triangle when we first started, we know that 30 plus 50 plus 100 is 180, and inside is equal to 180 degrees. But the thing is, how do we visualize that? So here is another triangle. And instead of numbers, we have letters representing them as angles. So what's going to happen is, you see these parallel lines? We're going to explain and visualize how all this happens. So we have a triangle right here. Let's take a look at angle B. In another video, we talked a lot about angle side angle, and we also talked a lot about alternating exterior angles and alternating interior angles. In this case scenario, what's happening is angle B is going to be congruent with this angle right there. And the reason why is, if there are parallel lines right there, and we have alternating interior angles, so that means the opposite inside angles, what it's going to mean is these two are going to be congruent. So we're going to carefully put a B right there. And the same thing also applies for C. If these lines are parallel and will never touch each other, C and this angle right there is going to be alternating interior angles as well. So C and C right there. C, get it? You see? And if we're saying that this is congruent to that, and that is congruent to that, and this is going to be 180 degrees, then we're going to say that angle A has to be congruent with B and C as well. And it also says that angle A has to be the sum of 180 with B and C. So that's why it's equal to 180 degrees. So we have looked at the first triangle proof, proving that all the angles are equal to 180 degrees. Let's take a look at the second part of it, or the second theorem. So we have another one right here. It's called exterior angle theorem. And it happens when the measurement of an exterior angle of a triangle is going to be equal to the sums of two interior angles. But hang on, what does this even mean? So what it says is, you'll be seeing figures that look like this. And what it also says, that when it says exterior angles, it's literally talking about this one right here. This is the exterior angles, while these are the interior angles. The measurement of an exterior angle is going to be equal to the sums of two interior angles of a triangle. Let's visualize how this can happen. Assuming that this is 120 degrees as an obtuse angle. This is an exterior angle. But the thing is, about the interior angles, they're called remote angles as well, in remote interior angles. Therefore, this has to be equal to 120 with the sum of this. So we can say that this is going to be equal to these two combined. Let's do a problem. So we have 150 degrees right there as the obtuse angle. We need to find out what these angles are. We can easily find that this one's 30 because this is a straight line. These are called supplementary angles. But hang on, what is x and what is the definition of 2x as angle? Huh? So remember what we said in the last theorem about the measurements of a triangle of an angle is summed to 180 degrees. In fact, we have the information to do that too. So what we're gonna do is, since these two have to equal that, we're gonna say that 3x, because this and that can be put into 3x, is gonna equal 150 degrees. So when we divide by 3 and divide this side by 3, we're going to get an answer as x is going to equal 50. So if x is going to be 50, this is going to be 50, and 50 is going to be inserted into here, so this is 100. So when we said about this theorem right here, there are two ways to check if this is true. One is inside the triangle. So 100 plus 50 plus 30 is going to be 180. And it also says that 100 plus 50 should equal 150. Yep, there it is. So we did it. We understood the exterior angle theorem. So we have learned the second theorem of triangles, the exterior angle theorem. Now we have to take a look at the last one. And that last one is going to be the midline theorem. Wait, what? So what this theorem is actually telling us is a segment connecting two midpoints of the sides of a triangle, and is also parallel and 1/2 to the length of the third side. Let's look at a picture to understand this one. So, a segment connecting two midpoints of two sides of a triangle. So here's midpoint number 1, and here's midpoint number 2. And that is going to be parallel and is 1/2 the length of the third side. So, half of 20, this orange line connecting here and here is going to be 10. And also, it's going to be parallel to each other. So, it's going to be easy to find congruent angles since you have parallel lines. You can use alternating exterior, alternating interior, and much more. And we forgot about the segments. If these are midpoints, if this from here to here is 5, we're going to say that this from there to there is also 5. Then if here to here is going to be 6, because here to here is also 6. Midpoints will give you 2 congruent segments. Not only we can do that with midpoints and find the length, but we can also find them with angles. So in this case scenario, we have to find angles and lengths. The first thing that we can find that's easily is say that B and D are going to be midpoints of A and C and A and E. So we're going to say that B is a midpoint to A and C. And we're also going to say that D is a midpoint of A and E. And that also says that A and B are going to be congruent to BC. Because 2 midpoints can bring you 2 congruent segments. Also, we can say that AD is going to be congruent to DE. Same idea. So now we understood that, and we can say that if this is 11, then this has to be 11. This is 10, this has to be 10. And 1/2 of the third length, 14, this line right here is going to be 7. The last thing we gotta do is find all of the angles. So, using corresponding angles, if this is 60 degrees, then angle 3 has to be 60 degrees. So we're going to say that angle 3 is going to equal 60 degrees. Then we're going to say if this is 50 degrees, then this is going to have to be 50 degrees because of corresponding angles. So angle 2 is going to equal 50 degrees. And if this is 50. The last thing is we got to find out what that A is, or that angle number 1. We're going to put that right there. So going back to what we learned in the first place, yes, applying this theorem to get 180 degrees, 180 is the entire thing. So 60 minus 50 is going to be 110. 180 minus by 110 is going to be 70. So what we're going to say, that angle 1 has to be 70 degrees. Yes, we have done it. We have now understood the midline theorem and also know how to find all the dimensions and angles of this particular shape. So we have learned the last thing we need to know about the entire 3 theorems of a triangle. Doing so is going to earn you 180 points. Actually, yeah, 180, because they all connect each other. The Tri-Alliance. I hope this video has helped you understand the 3 triangle proofs. Thank you for watching Tao Ping Airlines Math Industry. Like and subscribe.